It's good to be here. And Dorothy, you were wrong. We are still in Kansas.
Yeah, still in Kansas under the lights. No tornadoes in sight, so that's a good thing. The good news is, though, is that we figured out a way to get the setup dialed in perfectly for the mile and a half, and since we have two of them coming up, hopefully that we'll be able to get them in. The qualifying effort doesn't reflect it as much, but I think that with the how the long runs will go, if we get some long runs, I think we'll be able to get that number 8 up into at least the top 5 and a win.
I'm just here to have fun. I got eliminated back in the round of 40.
It's time for the most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome tonight's Grand Marshal, star of Nickelodeon's hit show, The Thundermans, Jack Griffo.
Kansas City! Are you ready for the race? All right, let's do it. Drivers, start your engines!
This could be a pretty fast track that was reconfigured here a few years ago, and I think that's made the racing even better here. So another thing you need to realize, another thing to keep in mind, fuel mileage can always come into play here as well.
And the mile and a halfs always seem to have that little lull in the middle when everyone gets into a line and they just kind of ride around the track. You get into a rhythm super easily, and then it does come into fuel saving. You can do a lot of fuel saving at mile and a half because of the coast into the turns and be able to feather the throttle. You will waste lap speed or lap times, but it will save tires. So it's kind of like it's a double-edged sword. Do you save fuel and tires, or do you go flat out? But with the short of the races right now, it might be a better idea to go flat out, but we'll have to see as the race goes on.
Sorry for that brief pause. As it turns out, my audio for some reason wasn't recording, so you guys probably heard a whole lot of nothing other than McCurry and Kyle's voice here from that opening before the screen flag there. But we're back now. Everything's good. We had
to carry the broadcast.
Yep. Madeline Crenshaw leading the first lap. That's a crucial bonus point for her as the front begins to settle out here, looking more towards the back. These drivers going 3 wide here, and with this package, these cars can handle that.
Yeah, they can. These mile and a halves have almost become super speedways, as there was some tight racing up at the top of the racetrack through 3 and 4.
3 wide is fine. 4 wide, I don't trust at all.
Ooh, some very close quarters here. That's Charles Buxton in the 15. Almost got into Daniel Voiles there. Seth Cole back here. He's trying to stay into the top 8 as well. We went over through the points. Unfortunately, you guys didn't really hear much of that. Coming through here, we've got 54 laps of racing here. Stage breaks, well, not really stage breaks, but the laps that the stages end are on lap 18. So first stage ends on lap 18 as Madeline Crenshaw has pulled out to about a 0.3 of a second lead as we have a battle for second place. Here comes rookie James Moore underneath Dylan Young.
That wasn't much of a battle right there. It looks like the inside line is definitely where you want to be right now.
To wait to see if the track represented the top of the racetrack, but definitely the inside seems to be the way to go back here. As you can see right now, the 48 and the 43 got stuck on the outside line. Although out of 3 and 4, it looks like if you're on the outside lane, you're able to keep going around the racetrack a bit faster. You get more of a speed, you get more of a launch out of the final 2 turns. Down into 1 and 2, though, you'll notice down on the inside, there comes the speed on the inside line, and right now, Cole Baker is under threat of getting past. Again, but getting past on the inside. But you might see Baker being able to hold it on the outside out of 4. We'll have to wait and see how long the track gets rubbered in. But as it stands right now, they're still alongside. He got a little launch out of the top, did Baker.
Yeah, the outside lane has a bit of a run here, especially when the tires start to wear down. You're gonna see the outside lane probably working a lot more than you do as Trent Dunham stuck on the outside lane now. As back up at the front, these cars have gotten close together. Jovid Anderson now up here with Dylan Young and James Moore going to try maybe to dive underneath Madeline Crenshaw, but Crenshaw holds the bottom. See back here, you see the 9 car had to back off a little bit. Is going to lose that attempt spot over here by Dylan Young, who's going to hold on to his position. Car's going to
getting sort of single filed out throughout the back. There's some battles going on further up, but once you get to the back of the field, that's where all the battling is still happening. And it's a product of the aero package. When you get towards the back, there's just not a lot of places to take the run, so you kind of have to get stuck battling side by side, and you can get into these large packs. And until you break free of that, you see the leaders, they've already checked out. First through on about 8th or 9th, they've kind of separated themselves from the rest of the chaos. But then back there, you've got all the battles happening, and it's just a product of having to get out of the aero, because you get dragged down by going into the turns. You can't really get through the turns as well. There was almost a little contact between the 48 and the 4, but No harm, no foul.
Okay.
Everything's fine.
Cody Lamas and Zachary Fitzwater up here as well. Trent Dunham, look at him battling his teammate on the inside here, trying to get up here. Benjamin Miles up here trying to gain as many spots. Remember, these drivers trying to fight for the top 10 because in just 9 or 10 laps, 10 laps if you count the one we're on, this will be the end of stage number 1. Oh, we have a battle. We had to change for the lead up here as well. James Moore has passed Madeline Crenshaw.
Curious to see like how far these guys can go on fuel for each run. Here we're currently coming to the end of lap number 9.
Yep, end of lap.
Will they be able to make it to the end of the stage?
That'll be a good question too. There's no cautions between stages, so it's going to come down to if they can make it all the way to the end of the stage, or if they're going to maybe try to pit and not take a lot. I guess it's going to come down here too, because like in real life, or soon to be real life on road courses, there will be no yellow flags for the stage breaks.
Good old-fashioned start-to-finish racing, and that's kind of nice to have tracks that you don't really get to see full course yellows on.
That's how it should be, in my opinion.
Still battle between teammates here. Trent gonna let the 99 take the spot, but that's gonna be the 10th spot there. So that's the final spot for the extra points as these cars now beginning to kind of settle out, trying to see where their cars are gonna run.
Now that you can really set in some of the long run strategies, get into a groove and be able to, okay, now that we've gotten out of the hornet's nest, let's figure out what we can and can't do with what we have now. Undoubtedly, some of the drivers at the front, they've been out in the clean air. Some of them have been battling, though, and they might be a little less on fuel because of the cars battling towards the back. Yeah, they've been battling, but they've also been running at slower speeds. That means that they're not going to have as much fuel. And if it does come down to a lap, maybe 2 laps of fuel, those guys that had to slow down towards the back might benefit from it. But these guys out front that have been running at pretty much full tilt since the beginning, they're going to be looking at their gauges going, okay, how long can we go? What's the fuel windows looking like? And how much do we have to back off to meet the guys that were at the back?
Yeah, absolutely. And now we talk about another thing, too. We have 12 drivers battling for a championship still. With this being only race number 2 of round number 2, if what would it mean for a chaser or for a playoff driver to go to victory lane and secure their spot into the next round?
Oh, it would mean everything. It's just a weight off of their mind going into the next round for sure. They don't have to worry about what happens in Vegas. But, some of these drivers that are towards the back, some of the playoff drivers are still towards the back, but you got some of them up here. You've got Orman right behind. He's still trying to get he's trying to get out of a bad situation, really. So if anybody needs to win, it would be the 23, because he's in a position right now that he can do it. He's not far back. He was running in 6th place, I believe. So if he can get up there, or 5th place, he crossed the line. So if he can run up to get into the lead of the race and get this win, then that's something that he doesn't have to think about, and that will pull him out of a major hole.
Absolutely. Wow, we were single file here, but now we come back here. We're double file again. Here's Jessica Shelton. She's still alive in the points. Down, she's below the cutoff line, so she's trying desperately to get herself a good finish here, running behind Cole Baker. And now here comes Kyle Matthews, one of her good friends, trying to give her a shove, helping her try to get up there. Crossing the line again here. You see Kansas is for some good wide open race, and these cars just about hit 200 miles an hour before diving off into these corners. I never
really let the car stretch its legs throughout these straights, because the way the turns are too, they kind of arc out, so you can let it fly out of the turns and carry the speed down, especially the front straightaway.
42 stuck on the outside. Bobby Frazier, who won Darlington to get himself a lock into this second round here, and hasn't really been doing the best recently for the round. So he's fighting to try not to for himself to not get eliminated, as we're trying to get up back towards the front here. See, the top couple of cars have really broken away. The 2 leaders here just trying their very best as we're coming up to the theoretical white flag of stage number 1.
Crenshaw is running 2nd place only to the 17. So, Crenshaw, with the way that she's running right now, this is a great thing too, because she comes down, she's right around the bubble line too. So even getting these, if she can get the pass made, get those stage points. That's a little bit better because the drivers that are right behind her in points are not doing too well. I mean, we just saw what.
Oh, here we go. Pit stops.
Well, look at that. Maybe we have something different.
Pit stops happening here.
That answers our question right there.
And Dylan Young is going to win stage number 2 off of that as you wait for the top 10. There it is right there to cycle through. As we're in the
very interesting.
Yep, as we're in the middle of pit stops, Dylan Young wins stage number 1. We're going to take a quick commercial break and be right back with the pit stops here at Kansas. Back here at Kansas as the rest of these drivers come on to pit road. These cars really have to whoa up. Getting on the pit road here is very difficult as the next 2 drivers stay out, and that's going to move the lead over to Henry Sanford in the 22 car, and is going to be quickly challenged, by James Qualls in the 34.
Really interesting strategy going on here as we saw pit stops begin right at the end of the stage. The race leader came down pit road right before the stage ended, so they're kind of looking at, I guess, the race in general instead of just going for stage points.
Like look at these cars right here. Henry Sanford, James Qualls, others in this top pack. When it comes down to that extra pit stop, these cars can come in probably at lap 40, which means they only got to put enough gas in the car to last them about 14 to 15 laps.
Now, all these other guys might be right on the line of whether or not they could make it. Some of the drivers that came in on 18 going on to 19. So it's close for the ones that pit first, but these guys that came in last, they might have lost a little extra time while getting on the pit road and making the stop late because, you know, how they say there's
a little bit of damage on the side of the 23 here.
Maybe some extracurricular on pit road, maybe?
Perhaps.
Pit road can get really tight, and sometimes cars do get into each other, and that could have been what happened.
Trying to see who's going to cycle.
Pit lanes we have too.
Trying to see who's gonna cycle around. It looks like the 17 could cycle around as the race leader. Dylan Young has moved himself into the 2nd position.
Yeah, Dylan won that first stage, and so far.
Oh boy!
Spot, maybe not here, but the 7, Crenshaw all over him there.
Crenshaw going to duck to the inside. It's got Stephen Colon behind him in the 31 car. He's going to try to push her along. We'll see if maybe they can catch. We've seen where, you know, like the 17 could get a big lead here, but just watch and see if the 7 and or the 31 chases him down. This will be interesting to see too.
And they might, because we saw earlier in the race where the leader just could not get away from the guys that were behind him. So right now we're already seeing it down the front stretch. The 7's closing in.
The 7 just ran her fastest lap of the race right there at a 28.834.
I believe it. That run she got on the leader there.
Yeah, that's probably going to be fastest lap of the race because of the draft. But right now, you've got right on the back tail of.
He's got a block.
Crenshaw is getting a little bit impatient with the leader, trying to duck into the inside and forces her way to the inside. We're going to have a new leader by the time we get around to turn 3.
Yeah, we'll definitely see side by side.
She ran him down. She's clearly faster, and I think she's going to get the lead here on the exit of 3 and 4.
And the 31 car.
Getting a bit of a push there from the 31 car. Going to help her out a little bit.
Yep, and now Crenshaw will take the lead away again from the 17. We've only really had, 3 or 4 different leaders, I believe, in this race. That's also due in part to coming to pit road. But the next green checkered flag will come out on at the completion of lap number 36 to end stage number 2. 31 car looking in, and I don't think that damage is hurting the 23 car. He's still right up here inside the top 5, and Laura Chung up here now, also in 6th place.
Yeah, we're 25 laps into this thing, and it's been all green, so I'm really surprised and impressed to see that.
Yeah,
Especially the way
seems to have worked.
Especially the way they were racing early on. Several rows back, they were 3 wide, but kept everything together, and we've had a clean race so far.
Absolutely. Here's somebody we got to keep an eye on, too. I believe she's still, if you guys can look at the point standings real quick, Christina Bell, I'm pretty sure she is still in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, she's not only in the playoffs, she's running 4th right now in the playoffs.
So we have, I think, 3 out of 4 or 5 women in the Budweiser All-Pro Series who have made the playoffs, and that's pretty outstanding in of itself. Here, Jessica Shelton trying to stay in the playoffs right now. She's only a couple cars behind, and now here comes Jovan Anderson underneath Cody Lamas. Cody Lamas was the first 2-time winner on the season. He's the first to clinch himself a spot in the playoffs after winning his 2nd time, but unfortunately was eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. So he's just out here, I guess, just riding, biding his time here. As now Christina Bell gets held up behind the 48 car, and here come these cars to pounce.
It seems like there's something wrong with Lamas's car because it doesn't seem like it's that up to speed with the rest of the drivers. Maybe that's just because he was running all by himself, but it seems like even on the outside, like even on the inside line, drivers were catching him up.
Yeah, it could be just an ill-handling race car on the on that 48 machine. Probably got some work to do on it. Try to get it right in the last pit stop if we don't have a caution here, as we might have a battle for the lead here as Stephen Colin has run down the 7 of Madeline Crenshaw, but Crenshaw doing her best to hold him off. If Crenshaw can lead the most laps, that's another valuable bonus point for her in terms of trying to get her away from that bubble spot.
And if Crenshaw can win this race, again, that'll take the threat of the bubble away completely, because right now she's hovering around down with Frazier, Shelton, and McCurry, respectively, for the bubble or on the bubble, so would eliminate any of those worries. But somebody else that would definitely like to get rid of that bubble worry is Nathan Orman, who is not running too far behind this lead group either, trying to catch up. He's he's running 3 spots down and on the cut line, so if he could get this win as well, even if he can get up and get some bonus points, that would be ideal for the 23 team.
Looking back here,
7 of Crenshaw, he did not get any stage points here in that first stage. Came to pit road right before the stage came to an end,
which means we could be seeing her come down pit road here in the next couple of laps as we are approaching the end of stage number 2. And I want to point out, we didn't see it on the screen. It must have happened either during a cycle of pit stops or a little bit before. The 19 of Colin Cropley has retired from a camshaft mechanical issue on that number 19 car. So he was our first retiree here at Kansas.
What a way to go out, too. A mechanical failure for the team. Hopefully they can get that fixed before the next race out, because again, it's another 1.5 mile track, and the way that this one's gone, it's been kind of heavy on the RPMs and everything, so hopefully that'll get it fixed. But the way that they're running right now, everyone's single filed out. Well, I say everybody's single filed out, and then 41 has other ideas, and we got a few battles going on back here. But for the most part, the big packs have disappeared, and everyone's gotten single filed out. So that's good for these drivers that are trying to use their fuel strategy to get this to be a one-stop race. It's doable, especially for the drivers that pitted first. They can still make this a one-stop, but it's going to be a little bit trickier. They might have to save a little fuel after the second round of stops.
We're going to see what happens here. Look at the run that the 31 car got. Madeline's going to try to block his momentum. We'll see if he tries to dive it underneath and force the issue. This time by, doesn't quite do it, but it's still right on her back bumper. We've got 2 Chevrolets, 2 Fords, and a Toyota here in the top 6, right, or in the top 5 right now here. And as the 23 car is going to dive underneath there, we're going to keep an eye up here at the front and see if these cars start to dive down pit road as we're coming to 2 laps left in stage number 2.
17 has backed the pace off quite a bit. I wonder if he's not in fuel-saving mode.
It's very possible. Try to push it that 20 laps, because they come in on lap 40. That's only 15 laps. They'd have to get on. That could be 2 tires and enough gas to get to the end there. We'll see if Crenshaw comes down pit road this time. Doesn't look like she's coming down, so she's gonna She's going to take the theoretical white flag one more time here in stage number 1 and 2. Excuse me, I almost said 1, but it's 2. Stage number 2.
I feel like they've been able to go further this stage than they did the last stage as well, because we would have seen drivers diving down by this point. So looks like that everyone's going to try and save that extra little bit.
I think some of these crews realize that they're going to need to try to stretch it at least one more lap. All these guys that were up front but didn't get any stage points.
Yep, and it looks like she's going to do it. So this time she's going to take it. Madeline Crenshaw will take the green checkered flag and win stage number 2. That's very interesting as we wait for the top 10 to cross, and I believe that they have right there. So there's your top 10 results. Jessica Shelton getting the last single point for the stage. We're going to take a quick commercial break and be right back with more action here at Kansas.
Warning. The Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
And we are back here at the Kansas Motor Speedway as we're getting ready. It looks like we had one car come down pit road. It was going to be the 31 car, 31 to 17. Not a lot of cars coming down this time for the first time around, including our leader who stayed out yet another lap.
This should be the final stop of most of these all of these drivers. Hopefully this is the last stop, but this should be the final stop that at least the leaders now will make. So we'll have to see later on in the race if they do. Here comes 7. 23 should follow suit. They do. 78 stays out, though. Chung stays out.
Laura Chung stays out, going to get another bonus point for leading a lap. And remember, this is what's going to set up the final run to the finish. So fresher tires, that could make a difference, even by just one lap.
Does the overcut work for Chung? We'll have to find out. It didn't work out for the other drivers that tried it earlier on in the first stop, so see if it works for the 78. They got to get on and off pit road quick if they want to make this work.
Yep.
Dylan Young is still out there, so is Jessica Shelton, James Qualls, and Henry Sanford. The rest of the top 5. Here comes...
Oh, somebody's spinning. Oh, we have a spin on the racetrack. No, that's RJ Bishop. RJ Bishop just gets plowed into by Stephen Colin. The caution flag is out now, and all these cars are running into each other. The 17, Cody Lamas just got a piece of it. These cars have got to get off the racetrack here.
How many times have we seen cautions, basically all hell break loose in the middle of green flag pit stops? It seems like every race that I commentate, this happens.
The 11 of Samet Ozkin involved. I have no idea who the leader is. It could be James Qualls.
It is 34.
Now the question is, who's going to be able to pass the pace car to get either on the lead lap to get their their spots back? But this could have changed this whole entire race.
Well, they still hadn't made their stops yet, so now the pit lane is open. They're on the pit road. I think it was only 4 cars that hadn't pit yet. Everybody else is staying out.
And we're gonna
3 might be the one behind the pace car, though.
We're gonna have a lot of cars probably on the tail end of the lead lap here. We're gonna have to wait and see what's gonna happen as these cars cycle around. I'd definitely like to see what's gonna happen at that point. We've got a bunch of cars a lap down so this is going to be very interesting. We're gonna go ahead and quickly look back and see at what brought out the yellow, and that was RJ Bishop, who was already out of this race. And we're gonna go ahead and see like what happened, if he got ran into coming to pit road, because that was always a big possibility. Oh, somebody up front. Oh, it was Jessica Shelton. Shelton spun. Oh my lord, Shelton spun. I'm not sure how she spun. I want to see if she got turned by. Oh, she got turned by Qualls.
James Qualls got into Jessica.
Oh, no,
Wow.
Shelton just got on the brakes trying to cut across traffic to get on pit road, I think, and Qualls was just already there.
Boy, there's some miscommunications right there between drivers and their spotters, and this created a huge mess.
It really did.
It's shaking up the entire running order.
It honestly really has. I'm trying to see where the pace car is at. I want to see who's going to be cycling around here as the race leader. It says Laura Chung. Now, where is she out on the racetrack? Right here.
What a perfect time to come down the pit lane.
Laura Chung, first down pit lane. This is going to be interesting, especially with the lap cars in front. So we're going to have to really pay attention here, as we're going to go ahead and accelerate, try to get to the last lap under the caution flag here, and it looks like it looks like we are. The pace car lights are off, and he's going to come down pit road this time.
Several cars in front of the leader here on the tail end of the lead lap. This restart's going to be wild.
It really is. A lot of cars on the lead lap. We've got interesting amount of cars in the tail end. Here's the 78's going to go high, and I don't think that was the right move.
Yeah, Dylan Young looking to the inside. He's going to have a good run going into turn 1.
Dylan Young going to take the lead. Here comes Henry Sanford, who I don't believe is part of the chase anymore, or the playoffs anymore here. Now it's going to be all who can get around these lap cars. You're going to keep an eye on Dylan Young. Look back here to see if there's anybody else. Seth Cole and Kyle Matthews up here, as well as the 7 of Madeline Crenshaw, just holding on to the 10th or the 9th position right now.
Madeline Crenshaw definitely came out of that situation well, because it could have been a lot worse coming down pit lane the second time, after with the second group anyway. But now everybody's trying to get around these lap machines. Dylan Young's doing a pretty good job of it, though. Everyone seemed to get out of the way. I don't know how well the blue flag rules are in this series, but it seems like everybody's, minding that, they're not racing for position, so letting the leaders by. But here comes Dylan Young again to put another driver another lap down, or at least he's trying to.
We saw that wreck took out one of the Penske cars, that being the 12 of RJ Bishop, but the other 2 Penske cars made it out of there pretty well, running 1-2 right now.
Yeah, that's going to be a good battle. Henry Sanford looking to get his 2nd victory of the season, and Dylan Young looking for his 1st of this season. And they're running right behind Trent Dunham right now, and we're trying to see exactly who's going to come out with the victory here, as Trent kind of holding up Dylan a little bit here, as here comes Henry Sanford now.
Now, I wonder what happened to Nathan Orman and company that came down the pit lane at a very unfortunate time during the pits, when the caution came out, because they got shuffled back as way out of the top 10 right now, running in 15th, trying to get back. That was a 2nd place running car when the caution came out.
Yeah, it was. Qualls just falling back, stuck on the outside lane. A lot of these cars here are not really able to make a lot of moves. Kyle Matthews going to make a move on his teammate here. That's going to put him, or not his I guess it make a move on his teammate who's a lap down. Keep him in the same spot, but we're going to try to stay up at the front here. These 2 Penske cars.
You mentioned the 34 car falling back. It's probably got some right front fender damage that we can't see right there. He got into, him and the 10. They got together. That was a pretty hard hit for both of them.
Absolutely. As the Penske car is battling it out here. We're got about 7 laps to go, or 6 laps to go here at the line. And if Dylan Young slips up, Henry Sanford could be there to pounce, and Laura Chung just trying to stick with it. We talked about playoff drivers. Here comes Seth Cole up here. Seth Cole's in 4th spot. He started at the rear of the field here. Needed a lot of good points. I think he got stage points in the first one. Or no, I don't think he's got stage points at all. But here he is now running in 4th spot.
And what's more important is he's running higher than Trey Wright and Rob Crown, I think. So this will be a great leapfrog up. I don't think he's going to quite catch Crown with the amount of points he'll get, but he definitely will leapfrog Trey Wright if the running order finishes in the same positions.
5 laps to go. Let's talk about the opposite end of the spectrum. Anthony McCurry up here running in the 27th position. Ahead of her in 26th is Christina Bell, in jeopardy of being put a lap down, and Roberto Crown Jr. up there as well, running outside the top 20.
Couple of playoff drivers right nose to tail. This is not good for some of these drivers that are back in the pack, though. They need to be up in the top 10 if they want to be making up enough points to be able to get into the next round of the playoffs. Right around the cut line, too, are a lot of these drivers, except for Christina Bell. Christina Bell is running, she's 4th in the standings right now, but being this far back, she might plummet through the field because I know Laura Chung and Seth Cole are definitely ahead. I'm not sure about Miles, and Crenshaw I know is ahead, so Crenshaw is going to leapfrog through the field. But Rob Crown, Trey Wright, where are they running in relation? Because this is important for Christina Bell.
Absolutely. All eyes focusing on Dylan Young, who's kind of backed off a little bit. He's not the rookie that those yellow stripes on the back claim he is to be. That just came with the paint scheme of this race car. So
say anything but a rookie.
Dylan Young is a 2-time former Budweiser All-Pro Series champion, as we have, I don't want to say a battle for second because it's not, but here comes Nick Gunther in the 21 car trying to gain, I guess, some type of track position. It's not for position, but trying to race that number 22.
It's hurting Henry Sanford, whatever it is right there. Dylan Young likes when he sees the 21 when he was racing side by side with the 22 as they're coming to get the white flag.
White flag, 1 lap to go here at Kansas in the Hollywood Casino 400. He's just got to make two more left turns, and he's going to be home free for his first win of the season. Unfortunately, a little too late for Dylan, as it's not going to count towards the playoffs, but it should count definitely towards the Spirit and next season for that number 2 team. And it looks like McCurry and the 77 of Christina Bell are going to be able to stay on the lead lap. Checkered flag is out. Dylan Young wins here at Kansas.
It's a good run for Dylan Young as well. He really came in handy, though. The caution that came out under the green flag stops. He was able to use that to his advantage, get some track position, and he'll take the win here tonight.
He was up there the whole time. He was in the top 5 the whole race, though. So, I mean, it ain't like he just lucked into this thing.
Oh, no, he was up there.
Well, I mean, the caution coming out probably was a little lucky. But
Oh, definitely.
as Dylan Young's going to take it to victory lane here, the 77's going to... look, the 8 car actually passed the 77 before the checkered flag. That's one more spot gained.
Drivers had to do.
Every point is important here.
Every point is crucial. We're going to take a look now at the official race results. I'm going to go ahead and export these. Dylan Young picking up the victory. Henry Sanford a very close second. Zachary Fitzwater comes home 3rd. Laura Chung back to 4th. Madeline Crenshaw worked her way up back to 5th position. Kyle Matthews finishes 6th. Seth Cole 7th. Daniel Voiles 8th. Charlie Buxton 9th. And Matthew Rodriguez brings it home in the 10th position. Then it's Dylan Pote. Nathan Ormond tries to come back for a 12th place finish. Qualls back in 13th. Charles Buxton in 14th. Charles Sanford in 15th. Trey Wright 16th. Bobby Frazier 17th. Jose Mills 18th. Benjamin Miles 19th. Jonathan Zorline rounds out your top 20. Then it's Jovan Anderson, Ali Rain, William Brock, Roberto Crown Jr., Cole Deaver, Anthony McCurry, and Christina Bell, who round out the cars on the lead lap, followed by Nick Gunther, Cole Baker, Trent Dunham, and Cody Lamas round out the cars that finished the race. Then your cars out from the accidents include Sam Oskin, Jessica Shelton, RJ Bishop, Reggie Fogelman, Stephen Colin, who was having such a great run, as well as James Moore as well, and of course Colin Cropley out with his mechanical issue earlier. So lots gonna change here towards the playoffs heading into Las Vegas, and it's gonna make that last race for the round number 2 that much more interesting.
Absolutely. A lot of drivers that need to have good points runs next week in Vegas is going to have to, I guess, roll the dice and see if they can get in a good enough qualifying spot. Because we saw that qualifying, even with the kerfuffle going down on the pit lane, definitely played out tonight. As if you got track position, you basically kept it throughout the entire night. I mean, just look at drivers such as
Maddie Crenshaw. Madeline, same thing.
Yeah, close enough. Maddie Crenshaw Started out towards the front and finished in 5th, so track position is definitely key. If all of this went green flag to the end, it would have been the deciding factor.
Very interesting race. It started out very pretty calm, uneventful. Looked like it was going to be that way for the rest of it, but once again, we see a caution come out in the middle, green flag pit stops, completely turn this race upside down,
And now we have
a lot of cars that were running well, unfortunately, got caught up in that.
And now it leaves the question of what ifs. Is what if that caution wouldn't have come out? Who would have cycled around? Who would have been the leader? And especially for Maddie Crenshaw, who was leading at the time before coming to pit road when everything started to happen here, I wonder if maybe she would have cycled around. But the more important question would have been, would she have been able to keep it if we stayed green? But coming up after the live coverage here, it will be your playoff point standings. Who are now in the bottom 4, who has moved out of the bottom 4, and what the point standings look like heading into Las Vegas next week. Anthony, Kyle, thank you guys so much for joining me, man. It was pretty fun up here.
Yes, it was. A really fun race to call.
Always fun getting to call a race, and hopefully we can do it soon.
Absolutely. So my name is Michael Norman, the official voice of the Budweiser All-Pro Series, saying we're packing up, heading to Las Vegas for some good old racing and gambling. We'll see you guys then. I say, until we meet again.